Now, it's time to meet the players of college sports today, presented by the Allen Law Firm, and get this show started. He's a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, a first-round NFL draft choice, and a member of the College Football Hall of Fame as both a player and coach. He is the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier. He's a rare two-time SEC Player of the Year and spent over a decade in the NFL. Ladies and gentlemen, Shane Matthews. And presenting the host of the show, with over 25 years of sports broadcasting experience, Terry Norvell. Coming to you from the future Home Loan Studio inside Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, it's time for College Sports Today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvell. Presented by the Allen Law Firm.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If you didn't enjoy that first full college football weekend that actually wraps up tonight with a final game, if you didn't enjoy that, well, college football is not for you. Hi, everybody. Terry Norvell coming to you on a Labor Day Monday. Hope you're having a good weekend, and it's continuing for you and your family. Hope you're having some fun, and we hope you're safe. Coach Spurrier and Shane, they both are off today. One of those guys to enjoy the rest of the holiday weekend. So Coach Spurrier and Shane Matthews back here on College Sports Today on Friday. We want to thank our title sponsor, of course, the Allen Law Firm, and we are broadcasting, as always, from inside Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, inside the future Home Loans Studio. Some of our wonderful sponsors will tell you about the other sponsors as we go. Brent Beaird joins us in about 10 minutes. We are going to go all around the world of college football, the good, the bad, the highs, the lows. A lot of stuff has happened since, Thursday. Remember, we told you that we are about to embark on 5 big-time days of college football. Super game last night turned into a good game, went overtime. Notre Dame just edges Florida State. The Noles, might they have found their quarterback through a helmet coming off, but we'll talk about all the games. A game tonight. Remember now, Ole Miss and Louisville, my goodness, their fans must think, are we ever going to play football in 2021? But tonight, 8 o'clock kick. Remember, Lane Kiffin is out for the game. He will not coach. He has been vaccinated but tested positive, I believe, a few days ago. Lane Kiffin will not coach on the sideline in the stadium. Louisville, Ole Miss tonight, wrapping up the first real weekend of college football, and it was a doozy. Alabama being Bama, probably the lead story, the number one team in the nation, looked like the only real complete team, at least one weekend. I will throw this out. I want full credit. I want everybody to always say that this statement was given birth by Terry Norvell. My one takeaway, if I had to tell you one takeaway that I saw themed during this first weekend of college football, it would be portal parity. My goodness, I've got to believe the portal is involved in, there were so many teams on equal footing, so many smaller programs that seem to be competing now. It's got to be portal parity, and I love it, man. What a fun weekend. Bama being Bama. Florida, is there a quarterback controversy? Is it a little too early for that? The Gators, we'll break that down with Brent Beaird. What did he see? Georgia, huge win for the Georgia Bulldogs. Great news. Georgia should bump up to number 2 in the nation. The polls don't matter right now, but a big, hard-fought win for Georgia. Do they, the Dogs, have enough offense as the season goes on? Clemson, a tough, hard-fought loss, and what a brutal loss for Clemson and a brutal weekend for the ACC. The Clemson Tigers right now, they are schedule handcuffed, if you ask me. They are really up against it. Clemson, their schedule, being in the ACC, is now the biggest opponent, and I don't think they can overcome their schedule. They have no marquee games unless somebody goes crazy. North Carolina getting beat the other night really hurt Clemson. We'll get into that a little bit later, but what a brutal, tough loss for Clemson. and a brutal weekend for the ACC. Speaking of ACC, what a game last night. Boy, it looked like 2 or 3 times I thought Notre Dame was going to run Florida State out of the gym. The Noles hung around. Mackenzie Milton gets put in the game because of a helmet situation. Jordan Travis had played every snap up to then. Did FSU find their guy? Maybe they did. Travis didn't play bad. Milton gave him a spark. The issue with FSU, and you Nole fans know if you watched the game, and I'm sure you did, the offensive line. Florida State really is struggling again with their offensive line, but maybe they found their guy. I thought there was terrible coaching scattered around the 5 days of college football kicking off week 1. Man, the Wisconsin coaching staff would not have got on the team bus. I would have fired the entire Wisconsin coaching staff the minute Paul Chryst shook hands with James Franklin. If I'm Wisconsin, I would have fired Paul Chryst. Miserable 30 years ago coaching style. Just a terrible, terrible way to lose. Wisconsin, I thought, was better than Penn State. The Nittany Lions hung in there, though. Tough, good game, good fun game. Wasn't a clean, pretty game, but God, I thought Wisconsin was terrible. I thought Notre Dame last night had poor moments of coaching, play calling. I thought 3 or 4 times Notre Dame had poor play calling when they were just about to knock out Florida State. I liked Notre Dame last night. I was impressed with Notre Dame. I thought they had pockets of terrible play calling and coaching. LSU, I have been warning you folks all summer long. Watch that game. LSU, that 1,800-mile trip to UCLA. The Bruins, I've been trying to tell people, they're better than what you remember when Chip Kelly got the job 3-4 years ago. Chip Kelly has turned the talent around. UCLA, the score might not have totally indicated it. I thought UCLA just beat them like a rag doll. Every time you looked up, UCLA was ripping off a run or a long pass. Where does LSU go? Where does Coach O go? LSU, a lot going on. Don't forget that Title IX sexual allegations, all that's still going on at LSU. It's not a good time right now for LSU football, and Coach O. Oklahoma, what do you make of the Sooners? They had they trailed early. They took total control of the game against Tulane, and I mean, they fought to not get upset. Tulane nearly got that final first down that would have kept potentially the game-winning drive alive. They were one football short that were the green wave. But what a performance by Tulane with what all they've gone through, practicing at Alabama and moving the home game from New Orleans to Norman, Oklahoma. Boy, they fell asleep at the wheel, and it nearly cost them. We'll also, at some point, try and look ahead to the coming weeks' games of note coming up for the September 11th Saturday. Also, I thought the Big Ten, the top of the Big Ten, impressed me. The top of the Big Ten, Wisconsin, I just ripped them, their coaching staff. Wisconsin's pretty good. Penn State's pretty good. Iowa undressed Indiana. I didn't see that coming. Iowa is pretty good, obviously. I think Indiana's pretty good. Ohio State's going to get better every single snap. I think the Big Ten, maybe Michigan found a quarterback finally. I think the Big Ten had a fairly good opening week, particularly the top of the conference. The Pac-12 North, everybody lost in the Pac-12 North except Oregon. But I think in a weird way, there were some ugly losses in the Pac-12. In a weird way, though, the Pac-12, I was impressed with the top 3. And they haven't had 3 big teams, 3 good teams in a long time. I think USC's good. I think UCLA, as you saw, is pretty damn good. And I think Oregon's pretty good. Oregon's got the big game with Ohio State. So just bouncing around some things I noticed. My number one take, though, from college football week 1, that's basically wrapping up with one more game tonight, portal parity. I think it's great for the sport. Boy, it looks like the talent level is tight among a lot of teams now, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Alabama still looks like they're the cream of the crop. Boy, Alabama, that game surprised me in that I thought Miami would hang around a little bit. I didn't realize Miami's talent level is not where I thought it was. I thought Miami had a little more overall talent. They're still building, and Miami, much like many Alabama opponents, Miami never could stress Alabama. That was a walk in the park. That was a scrimmage. Miami never had any aspect of their football team that they could stress Alabama, and it was just a nice, simple opener for the Crimson Tide. A couple people checking in. Gary says Anthony Richardson passes the eye test better than Emory Jones. Is there a quarterback controversy at Florida? One thing I'll caution on, Richardson threw 8 passes. He was 3 of 8 and didn't exactly light it up. So, be careful. Just be careful. It's a tough call. It's a tough call where Dan Mullen's at right now. Dan Mullen really needs one of 2 things to happen with Emory Jones Saturday. And I know the opponent's not, a great opponent, South Florida. Emory Jones, from Dan Mullen's perspective, needs to either absolutely play great or absolutely play terrible. Worst thing is playing right in the middle. You want to be careful, though, with Anthony Richardson. If his passing is not up to par right now, you become one-dimensional, and one-dimensional teams are easier to defend. Okay, let's take a break. Got a lot on the table. Again, we're coming to you from the Future Home Loans studios. I want to thank Robert Lynn and his great group at Future Home Loans. Over 2,000 5-star ratings. You don't get that many in a 4-year period without doing it right. They are the dominant mortgage broker in the Southeast, covering multiple states. Look them up if you're in that industry now, looking to get into a home, get your financing taken care of. Future Home Loans. We also want to thank, of course, our brand spanking new title sponsor, the Allen Law Firm, offices in Gainesville and Ocala. Here's how you get in touch with them. An easy way to get in touch with Allen Law Firm is on your phone, pound YES, if you've been involved in an accident or injured somebody you know. It's just that easy. Talk to the experts at Allen Law Firm, pound YES. That'll get you home. Let's take a break. When we come back, we will talk to Mr. Brent Beaird. He obviously watched about 1 million hours of college football. We'll get his take on a lot of these topics and more. Feel free to drop us a question, comment, or what have you on our Facebook Live comment section. We'll try and read those as we read Gary's a moment ago. Brent Beaird talking college ball. On the other side, it is College Sports Today.
Unlike many lawyers you see on TV, I've lived here most of my life. Unlike those out-of-town lawyers, I'm personally involved with all of my clients, and they can reach me 24/7 if they need to. I'm right here for my clients right now. Me, not a case manager, and certainly not a lawyer you've never met and don't know. When it comes to something as important as your injury case, let me show you how personal and local stacks up against impersonal and not local. I think you'll like the difference.
The good vibes. What? All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. Good vibes. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again.
Taste the islands and every drop of Vida de Luis tequila. 100% blue agave from Tequila, Mexico. Good vibes.
All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again.
It's time to thank the sponsors that make College Sports Today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvell possible. Vida de Luis Tequila, the official tequila of College Sports Today. Make sure you ask for Vida de Luis Tequila by name in your favorite bars and restaurants throughout the state of Florida. And of course, with your next margarita inside Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Safe Harbor Seafood Mayport, Safe Harbor Seafood Crescent Beach, and Sliders Oyster Bar Neptune Beach. The official seafood restaurants of College Sports Today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvell can be found up and down the Northeast Florida coast. Safe Harbor Seafood Mayport, Safe Harbor Seafood Crescent Beach, and Sliders Oyster Bar Neptune Beach. The proud seafood sponsors of College Sports Today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvell. J.B. Coxwell Contracting, established in 1983 and offering complete site development Go with the company generally considered the most well-respected heavy civil construction firm in Northeast Florida. Go with J.B. Coxwell Construction. For advertising information to get your business on College Sports Today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvell, simply shoot me an email, tnsportsjacks@yahoo.com. Again, shoot me, Terry Norvell, an email, and I'll get back with you. That email address again, tnsportsjacks@yahoo.com.
Back we are, as promised, time to get deep into it. One full week basically in the books. We got a game tonight, Ole Miss minus Lane Kiffin taking on Louisville. Should be a fun game. But what a fun weekend. Man, if you didn't dig this past Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, last night, and then tonight, I think it's going to be a good game. If you didn't dig that, wow, college football is not for you. Brent Beaird will join us real quick. We've got Brent lined up. A couple of people. Phil Rogers on the Tintin XL Facebook page says, "Go Dogs, good luck running against our front seven." Hell of a performance. Gosh, you could almost say the same thing about Clemson's front seven as well. You talk about Ali Frazier going at it the other night. I can appreciate a game like that. Some people, where's the offense? But questions down the road, but a good performance really by both teams defensively. With that, I think we've got Mr. Brent Beaird lined up. Brent, how the heck are you? I know, what was the over-under? Hundreds of hours that you watched college football. You must have put in topped 100 hours, I bet you, this weekend.
Well, I started with UAB and Jacksonville State on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And we'll finish tonight with Ole Miss and Louisville. I mean, it's just been a absolute smorgasbord buffet, just a wonderful week. And you and I are on the same page about this. And the problem is we don't have another game until Friday night this week, which is ridiculous. Why? Look, I get the NFL, the big Thursday game and all that, but not everybody wants to watch that game the whole time. There really needs to be even a non-Power 5 game that will be on Thursday night. Terry, real difficult news real quick.
Okay.
Minnesota running back Mo Ibram, season-ending surgery for him, and then Ronnie Bell of Michigan is out for year 2 with a season-ending knee injury. Man, that's what's so tough. As much as we love this game, that's what makes it tough, is when you get somebody that's a star that's hurt in that opener, and then they are out for the season.
Yeah, it's tough. Two players that had big games before they got injured. Bell went 75 yards, I think, and had well over 100 yards. Abraham, huge game. He was well on his way to a 200-yard night against Ohio State before he got hurt. Tough blows to a couple pretty good teams in the Big Ten. I thought in a defeat, I thought Minnesota represented pretty well. And Michigan, do they have their quarterback? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Thanks to, you see the logos on the screen. We want to thank our title sponsor, the Allen Law Firm. You saw their commercial a moment ago. Remember, you can reach their office anytime you want to talk to an expert. Pound YES, and also Future Home Loans. We are inside the Future Home Loans studio inside Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Brent, portal parity, I want full credit for that. That's my new thing. I think that explains a lot of these great – there's just so many good games. There's so many good teams now. I think the talent's spread out. Alabama being Alabama. UF quarterback controversy maybe a little early. Georgia, what a win for the Dogs. Do they have enough offense going down the road when they play other teams? Clemson, I think they're scheduled out right now. I think they're schedule handcuffed. Just a million things. FSU, did they find their quarterback? Tough loss for the Noles, but so many things out there. Brent, jump in. What 2 or 3 things really grabbed you from the weekend that's just about wrapped up?
Well, I'm still resonating from last night. Was at First Coast News, and when we were doing Sports Final, virtually as that game was ending. It's still so difficult, Perry, to put a game on the shoulders of a kicker, and how unfortunate it was. The difficult thing about that is FSU's kicker, before he was iced, that was a situation, Terry, where you remember he made the 50-yarder.
Yes.
And that didn't count because Mike Norvell had called timeout. But look, regardless, I know there are no moral victories, it was the best FSU has played in probably 4 years.
Yeah,
I think without a doubt. I mean,
the fact.
Look,
I was going to say the fact
but
two or three times I thought Notre Dame had them nearly knocked out, and they hung in there. FSU, season openers haven't been kind to the Noles, even in Tallahassee the last 4 or 5 years. They hung in there. I thought Notre Dame was knocking them out 2 or 3 times, but they hung in there.
Yeah. Hey, Terry's a whole lot better than that. What was it, that Virginia Tech season opener they had?
Brutal.
Under Taggart? That was horrible. But look, to me, you've got to stay with Milton at quarterback. I think that's going to be important for them. Bring Jordan Travis along. Jordan Travis had 3 interceptions, and if he put some air under a couple of those, they may have been touchdowns. But to your transfer portal point, Jermaine Johnson on that defensive line, he was unblockable, wasn't he, Terry? And also Jashawn Corbin, transfer from Texas A&M at running back, had a tremendous game overall. Now, Treshawn Ward, one of the younger backs, he also played extremely well. But, man, to be down 18 points, come back and tie that thing and have a chance to win it on the honoring Bobby Bowden, it was a special night at Doak Campbell.
Yeah. And wide left, unfortunately. Not wide right, wide left. You mentioned Johnson, though. He by way of Georgia, came over to Tallahassee by way of Georgia. Speaking of Georgia, Phil posted something here. More bad news from the injury front. Georgia Phil says Tate Ratledge out for the season, offensive lineman for Georgia, and he's in that rotation. Georgia's kind of looking for those who are going to be the big 5. They got 7 or 8 guys, but it looks like Tate Ratledge, according to Georgia Phil, out for the season, foot surgery on Wednesday. So a little bit of a blow to the Dogs' offensive line situation. Feel good, even in a loss out of Tallahassee. Florida gets a win. Brent, is there a quarterback controversy? I think it's too early. I think way too early to have a quarterback controversy. Florida jump out to a big lead, got a little complacent. Second half score, got a little complacent. Thumbnail what you saw in Gainesville.
Well, I think you had to appreciate the pace they were playing in the beginning. They came out with their hair on fire and certainly played well. Got out to a 14-point lead. And I know everybody's gaga over Anthony Richardson, but we got to remember, and again, he did play well. He deserves a lot of credit, but he also came in after the defense was extremely tired, and he was able to take advantage of them. To his point, Emory Jones, the 2 picks, I think are disturbing. 74 yards rushing. I'm with you. It is too early for a quarterback controversy, but this week's game in Tampa, which, by the way, is a recruiting game because there'll be more Gator fans there than USF fans, is important, I think, as far as trying to establish the pecking order at quarterback for the Alabama game. Now, incredibly, Florida ran, not passed, but they ran for 400 yards. And this is going to be just a different kind of an offense, I think, from what they have had. They had 6 sacks. Zach Carter had 3 of those. So there were some really good things that happened. But Terry, again, and I know he was trying to be funny, and he came off as looking goofy. But after the game, you got Dan Mullen being interviewed and asked about the quarterback situation, and Cole Kubelik was on the mic, and he looked at Cole like he had 3 heads. Look, that's a legitimate question. Dan, just answer the question. That's really all you need to do, and all you need to say on that situation is, look, both of them did some things poorly, both of them did some things well. Emory Jones is still our starter, but we will monitor it closely as we go to the game next week. What's the next question?
Yeah, definitely. Dan Mullen, not that this is rocket science behind a microphone or in front of a camera, but some people have a feel for it and some don't. Dan's strength is not the microphone put in his face and the camera. It's just not his strength, and I'm with you. He should know that. He's been in it long enough. And sometimes go the minimal route if you know it's a struggle. If you know it's a struggle. And he's not a great interview. He really is not. Brent, want to bounce through some topics quickly. Florida will be fun to see where they go with the quarterback. But again, Anthony Richardson, I thought Mullen, reading between the lines post-game, I thought he all but said about Richardson, well, number one, he doesn't have the whole playbook. So if Richardson is in, Mullen all but said he doesn't have the whole playbook at his disposal because he doesn't know the whole playbook. And, boy, if you start playing the Alabamas one-dimensional, good luck with that. I thought Florida, and I know the opponent wasn't great, you can tell saltiness on a front seven. I thought Florida's front seven on defense is deep. I think they're salty. I think they're athletic. I think they're fast. I know the opponent wasn't much, but the athleticism and the maturity and the strength that Florida's front seven showed versus last year, I was impressed. Clemson. Let me start with Georgia real quick. Real quick, Georgia. For Georgia to win the national title, and you can say this about most teams, you're going to have to at least win your final 3 games against 3 really good teams. Generally, you're going to have to win your conference championship game. You're going to have to win the first semifinal game, and then you're going to have to win the national championship game. So at least 3 probably good defenses. Can Georgia find enough offense between now and then, if they get that far, to get through? Brent, can they find enough offense to get where they want to go? And when do you worry? I know Clemson's good, but when do you worry about JT Daniels? Is he just a guy?
Well, frankly, Terry, they've got until Florida to find an offense. And I mean, when you look at their schedule, now look, I will be the first to say they need, and you know this well, they need to be careful this weekend. They've got UAB coached by Bill Clark, and I'm not saying UAB is going to win, but I'm just telling you, if they're fat and lazy all week, and I've heard how great they are, UAB is a type of team, particularly as good as their passing attack is. Terry, that thing could be close in the third quarter if they're not careful. And you will hear Kirby talk about that as he should the entire week. Now, again, they had so many receivers out that hurt them. Kyrus Jackson is not healthy right now. Dominique Blaylock is practicing, but he's not ready to play at this point. So Darnell Washington, the tight end, still out. So those guys will get better. Man, I tell you what, they've got the running backs, don't they? Kendall Milton's going to be a star. I don't have any doubt about that. But I'm telling you, Terry, when you can sack the quarterback, as they did with Uwe Ungalale, the way they were able to just get up the middle, I mean to tell you, Jordan Davis was unblockable. Number 99. I mean, how do you keep him off? And at this point, look, the fans won't like it, but the offense will get better. But they could win on this defense for a while. Anybody can hold Clemson to 180 total yards, 2 yards rushing. I mean, that's unbelievable. The defensive line had 14 tackles. How often does that happen?
Yeah, that was something. It was a hell of a defensive performance on both sides. I mean, no offensive touchdown scored. No offensive touchdown scored. Not a lot of time for Clemson, but Brent, I hate to bury Clemson. I think they're done for national title consideration. Uiagalelei, I think his Heisman candidacy is over. Nobody will see Clemson play anymore because they are schedule handcuffed. They are absolutely schedule handcuffed. North Carolina getting beat Thursday night was one of the worst things that could happen to Clemson. Yep. They have no pretty dance partner at the end of the ACC season. If they make it to the first Saturday in December, if Clemson's trying to wiggle away from the pack of one-loss teams, their resume, they have no, unless Virginia Tech somehow comes out of nowhere and doesn't lose a game, they don't play Tech in the regular season, Virginia Tech. Brent, I think Clemson, because they're in the ACC, they are schedule handcuffed, and there's not a lot they can do about it.
Well, what helps you in the ACC if you won that game, they basically will carry that with them
Yeah.
the rest of the season, and it would be a string. The problem now is, and to Terry, what the difficulty, and look, Clemson's Clemson. They've got one of the best rosters in the nation. I don't think there's any question about that. But the problem is, you go back to last year's playoff game against Ohio State when they were just discombobulated during that game, had a lot of injuries, and now you get to the Georgia game. So they're on a streak that they don't want to be on. Now, look, they can begin to climb their way out of this. How far will they fall? Frankly, they're not going to fall very far if you lose to Georgia, who now is going to be number 2. But your point's well taken. That ACC schedule at this point is not going to help them. So they need somebody to rise up out of the ashes of that league and put together an outstanding season.
And I think the only one that could do that would be Virginia Tech. Again, they don't play Virginia Tech. They also don't play North Carolina in the regular season. That's why North Carolina losing was so damaging to Clemson. North Carolina was starting at number 10 in the nation, roughly. So they were already starting real high. Clemson, particularly if they knew they were going to lose to Georgia, they were thinking, we need North Carolina to go 11-1, 12-0, and maybe knock them off, ranked 3rd in the nation. What a bad year, too. Clemson does not get Notre Dame, right? Notre Dame, they're a partial scheduling partner. They're not on Clemson's schedule. Everybody in the ACC that was ranked, there's only 3, all got beat. Clemson, Miami, and North Carolina. Tough for Clemson now. I think they are handcuffed. I wasn't surprised what happened in Los Angeles Saturday night, and a lot going on now with LSU. We know the investigation is still going on. Orgeron's in the middle of all that. LSU with Ed Orgeron, they seem to go either great or they start spitting oil. Where does LSU go, and were you surprised?
Yes. What I was surprised about the most was that UCLA beat them at the line of scrimmage.
Really did.
Terry, I didn't think there'd be any way in the world that UCLA would be able to do that. But boy, you've really got to give Chip Kelly and that bunch a lot of credit. And UCLA ran for over 200 yards. That's amazing within itself. But the thing that was really disturbing about LSU, you would have thought with the spring and summer that they would be improved. Terry, they looked like what they were last year. They couldn't tackle. They made numerous mistakes. They couldn't protect Max Johnson. They dropped passes. They fumbled. There were things, and I get the fact that they had a hurricane, and certainly our prayers continue to be with them during that cleanup. But all in all, they got them away, took them to Houston, and then they went to the game. It was an ugly game, and now people in the SEC will find this incredibly amusing. But they get old on tape. Hey Terry, if you're a head coach, people think there's always a camera around, right? So he's walking into the stadium. Some UCLA fan says something to him. He makes a comment about that sissy blue shirt that the fan has got on. And now the UCLA Athletic Sports Information Department have got this advertisement on Twitter about these sissy blue shirts. So I'm guessing may watch his mouth going into the stadium in future games.
It wasn't a good look. He made it going into the stadium. When you pop off like that as the head man, you got to win the game. You got to win the game.
Right.
And
that's right.
Just another thing that goes on the Coach O wackiness. Oklahoma fell asleep at the wheel. I think they're fine.
They did.
Tip of the hat to Tulane, and I had a lot of fun. You want to talk about how great the Nick Saban Alabama football program is? Here's how good it is. All you have to do is go practice at Alabama's facility, and some of that Alabama will rub off. Tulane went and practiced, right, at Alabama's facility last week because of the situation in Louisiana. Some of that Alabama mojo rubbed off on Tulane. That's how good Saban is. Quickly being serious, injury front for Alabama, Toa, do we know anything about his elbow? And Allen, I heard some bad stuff possibly about Allen. What's the injury situation? Because the game didn't really push Alabama.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me say this too: the Tulane coach Willie Fitz is he's a coach in waiting for somebody. He's done a terrific job at Tulane. People may forget that game was in Norman. It was scheduled to be in Tulane.
Yeah.
Allen, some people think he may have broke his foot, which is really unfortunate. But even Nick Saban said it may be a season-ending injury. Toa, they put a brace on his elbow. Saban said after the game that they would be more likely he would be fine. But Terry, since we're in this state, we've got to say, hopefully Miami will come out of the of that poor performance against Alabama. Yeah. Even the Miami beat writers, hearing from them yesterday, Miami was not aggressive in that game at all.
No.
They had a couple of 3rd and 4th and short, ran right up the middle. Yeah. How in the world do you run right up the middle against Alabama's front 7? Didn't try to return any kicks. They didn't try really to get anyone on the edge, for that matter, particularly Derek King. So it was a lot of Miami hype that ended up into nothing is what it amounted to. So they've got to get themselves together very quickly.
Yeah, I missed on that. I thought Miami would hang around. I was surprised at the lack of overall talent. I thought I was going to see a roster that was more athletic. And I know they were going up against Alabama, but yeah, I'm with you. Number one, the overall talent level I missed with Miami. And number two, it did appear from the opening kick they were sleepwalking. They didn't act like they were excited to be there. Now, Brent, I'll get you out of here on this. I'm not a big fire this guy, fire that guy. When I ask for somebody to lose his job, there's got to be something there. I'm not one of these off-the-cuff guys. I would have fired the entire Wisconsin coaching staff Saturday. I've watched Paul Chryst still think you can do that stuff from 30 and 40 years ago, run the ball right up the center's back on first down. Wisconsin, I thought, was miserably coached in what I thought was a fun game. It wasn't a pretty game, Wisconsin-Penn State, to start things off Saturday. But, my God, Wisconsin, get it into their football approach is 50 years ago, Brent. Just a miserably coached performance by Wisconsin and Paul Chryst.
Did it remind you of Les Miles being on the sidelines, maybe?
Absolutely.
It truly was. I mean, Chryst overall is a pretty good football coach. Now, Barry Alvarez was the guy up there, and that was a pretty good win for Penn State. Yeah. Keep this in mind. Not this week, next week, Auburn goes to Penn State, which will be a very interesting football game.
I thought I'll get out of here on this. I thought the Big Ten had a good opening several days. The top 5 or 6 teams in the Big Ten I think are pretty good. And I'll throw in Wisconsin. I'll throw in Penn State. Iowa, not that they won, but the way they undressed Indiana, who I think is pretty good. So Iowa, Indiana, I think Ohio State's going to get better every single snap, like we know they will. Michigan, did they find a quarterback? I think it was a pretty good weekend for the top of the Big Ten. Brent, we'll let you go. We could do it forever. I know you enjoyed it. Again, game tonight, no Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss hosting Louisville. No college game on Thursday, several on Friday, and then a pretty damn good September 11th next Saturday. I guess that's week 2. We'll go over that on the other side. Brent, thanks for everything you do for the show, and I hope you enjoy it all weekend. Enjoy that one more game tonight.
Absolutely. Terry, thank you. Take care.
Thank you, buddy. It's Brent Beaird. We'll take a quick break, come back, reset, and get out of here. Wrapping up a busy Monday edition of College Sports Today, presented by the Allen Law Firm, coming to you from the Future Home Loan Studio.
Unlike many lawyers you see on TV, I've lived here most of my life. Unlike those out-of-town lawyers, I'm personally involved with all of my clients, and they can reach me 24/7 if they need to. I'm right here for my clients right now. Me, not a case manager, and certainly not a lawyer you've never met and don't know. When it comes to something as important as your injury case, let me show you how personal and local stacks up against impersonal and not local. I think you'll like the difference.
All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again.
Taste the islands and every drop of Vida de Luis tequila. 100% blue agave from Tequila, Mexico. Good
All the
vibes.
good vibes we've had, we'll have again. All the good vibes we've had, we'll have again.
It's time to thank the sponsors that make college sports today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvell possible. Vida de Luis Tequila, the official tequila of college sports today. Make sure you ask for Vida de Luis Tequila by name in your favorite bars and restaurants throughout the state of Florida. And of course, with your next margarita inside Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Safe Harbor Seafood Mayport, Safe Harbor Seafood Crescent Beach, and Sliders Oyster Bar Neptune Beach. The official seafood restaurants of college sports today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvell can be found up and down the northeast Florida coast. Safe Harbor Seafood Mayport, Safe Harbor Seafood Crescent Beach, and Sliders Oyster Bar Neptune Beach. The proud seafood sponsors of college sports today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvell. J.B. Coxwell Contracting, established in 1983 and offering complete site development. Go with the company generally considered the most well-respected heavy civil construction firm in Northeast Florida. Go with J.B. Coxwell Construction. For advertising information to get your business on college sports today with Spurrier, Matthews, and Norvell, simply shoot me an email, tnsportsjacks@yahoo.com. Again, shoot me, Terry Norvell, an email, and I'll get back with you. That email address again, tnsportsjacks@yahoo.com.
Wrapping up a Monday, Labor Day Monday edition of College Sports Today. Coach Steve Spurrier and Shane Matthews, they both have the day off. They will join us on Friday for the next edition of College Sports Today, coming to you from the Future Home Loan Studio inside. That's right, we're live inside Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. I want to thank our title sponsor, the Allen Law Firm. You can get a hold of them very easy by picking up the phone and dialing pound yes. Pound YES gets you through. Speaking to an expert at the Allen Law Firm, offices in Gainesville and Ocala. Thanks to all of our sponsors you see here. Vida de Luis. By the way, Vida de Luis Tequila, the official tequila of college sports today, also served inside Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. You've got to try the Coco Loco. Oh, with Vida de Luis Tequila in it. Cream of coconut. You've got lemon and orange. And that great Vida de Luis Tequila in the Coco Loco, served one of the signature drinks on the menu. Here at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. You know about Allen Law Firm, Sliders Oyster Bar, the best oyster bar in North Florida. Mayport shrimp, scallops, calamari, oysters, crab cakes, seafood platters, and great entertainment. Indoor dining, outdoor dining, fun place. Safe Harbor Seafood, their sister restaurants, Crescent Beach and Mayport. Remember, Safe Harbor Seafood, yes, sit down, enjoy a great seafood meal at both Safe Harbor locations. The Mayport location has the market. You can go and buy and take home all that great seafood, freeze it up, and eat it anytime. They do a great job with their market, great selection right out of the ocean. Safe Harbor Seafood Crescent Beach and Safe Harbor Seafood Mayport. By the way, the sponsors of our picks contest, Future Home Loans. I tell you all about Robert Lynn and his group. Check out what they can do for you if you're in the market for a mortgage, ready to get that home, make that home purchase. Go to the website, find them online. Future Home Loans, very educational website, and J.B. Coxwell Contracting. Complete site development services in the North Florida area, J.B. Coxwell Contracting. So there you have it. If you want to get involved here on the show with your business, we still have the football season special going on. Buy 4 months, prepay 4 months, get the 5th month, January, totally free. Everybody has jumped on that. Feel free to contact me, Terry Norvell, about the football season special. Buy 4, get the 5th advertising month for absolutely no cost. Reach out to me, Terry Norvell, tnsportsjacks@yahoo.com. Wow, busy show. We knew it would be a lot of fun. Big-time weekend of college football. If you missed it, we had Brent Beaird on earlier. Check the show out on our archive page, and certainly all of our podcast listeners on all the leading podcast platforms. You probably, if you didn't get it, you want to go back and listen to the recap. Brent Beaird and myself covered a bunch of topics because there was a lot that went on. Real quick, this coming Saturday, pretty good schedule. Some of the games to follow in college football coming up Saturday, September 11th. The big one is at noon. Oregon at Ohio State. Real big game for both programs. Really big for the Pac-12 and Oregon. Iowa off an impressive win. They are at Iowa State. Iowa State didn't look great. Big game now in the state of Iowa. That's a big one, TV. Pittsburgh is at Tennessee. Pittsburgh's good now. The Panthers, Tennessee will be the underdog. Pitt goes into Knoxville. Texas A&M at Colorado. Appalachian State, App State at Miami. How will Miami rebound? That's one Miami better show up or they may take another loss. Texas is at Arkansas. Nice debut for Steve Sarkisian. Arkansas got a win. Are they ready for Texas? Texas traveling to Arkansas this coming Saturday. North Carolina State, I think they've got a pretty good football team in the ACC. They take on Mississippi State. They travel to Starkville. State pulled out an improbable second half, fourth quarter rally. Mississippi State at home was down 20. In the fourth quarter, they had committed 4 turnovers. Somehow, some way, they came back, led by a point, and blocked a potential game-winning field goal at the end. Mississippi State will host North Carolina State. A really, really intriguing make-a-move game early in the SEC. You've got Missouri at Kentucky. Good opener for Kentucky. Will Levis played well. And this is kind of a moving day game in the SEC East early in the schedule. Boy, the winner feels good. The loser, not so good. That's one to keep an eye on. And I think a pretty good game out west, Utah at BYU. So some of the games you can look forward to next Saturday. Game tonight, Louisville on the road at Ole Miss minus Lane Kiffin. That's going to be a fun game tonight. A lot of offense, I expect. So a game tonight, no Thursday football this Thursday because of the NFL kicking their season off. They've got their big game, and college football never messes with that Thursday NFL kickoff Thursday. There are a couple games on Friday, and then that big schedule on Saturday, September 11th. We'll have a lot of memorials, I'm sure, and remembrances on Saturday, September 11th around the world of college football. As we get out of here, a early little note. As most of you guys know, I hope you follow it. I do a show on Saturdays, a radio show during college football season called Kickoff Saturday with Matt Hayes, the great national writer Matt Hayes. We do a show on Saturdays on 1010XL, 92.5 FM out of Jacksonville. Huge stations. We will not be on the air this Saturday because of Gator football. They play at 1, so they're pregame. But a quick note. A week from Saturday, Florida-Alabama Saturday, September 18th, we will do the show live in Gainesville. I think we'll be at a barbecue location. I'll tell you more details. But, boy, we'd love to have you folks come out. Florida-Alabama Saturday, 11 to 12:30. We'll be live at an establishment in Gainesville. Our Saturday kickoff with myself and Matt Hayes. We'd love for some of you to come by as you're making your way to the stadium. So that's a week from Saturday. Details to follow. That'll wrap it up. Good Monday. It's football season. There are always good Mondays and Fridays here on College Sports Day. Thanks to Brent Beaird for sharing his wisdom with us about college football, and of course our producer, as always, Evan Miller, doing a great job getting us on the air. That'll wrap it up. Coach Spurrier and Shane off today, back on Friday. Join us for the next edition of College Sports Day, Friday at 11 a.m. See you then, everybody.